here, and today I figured we talk about our relationship with our outward appearance and makeup and things like that, because I used to wear a lot of makeup on my face. It probably started when I was in high school, and I mean, I put on some I didn't really put any powder on my face in high school because I always had kind of okay clear skin, or clear-ish type of skin. And but I would put on like really brightly colored eyeshadow, like blue. I loved blue, but my eyes are blue, so I should have been wearing brown, but I didn't know what I was doing. So I would wear like blue or anything that was like bright colored, and it looked pretty crazy, almost like a clown. But at the time I liked it, and I was wearing that. But as I got older, I never felt like I was very pretty. Like when I was younger, I had like freckles on my face, and I was always like super skinny, and I didn't feel like I was the mainstream like pretty person that most people see in society, or like what's considered like the girl next door, you know, the blonde hair, or just that kind of look to you, that hourglass figure. I didn't have that. And then personality wise, I'm more of like the brains, I guess. Well, most people, they look at me nowadays and they probably think that I'm not, because I feel like as I got older, I started looking better, or maybe I started accepting myself more. I don't know. But yeah, like I started wearing makeup probably when I was like 15, and not much, but just enough. And by the time I was probably 18, I was wearing full face makeup. Like I was putting on all of that like stuff you put on underneath your base that's supposed to like make you look like you don't have pores, and just layering and caking that makeup on. And I didn't even want to leave the house without makeup on my face. Like I felt like I just needed it to even go out into the world, which is such a strange thing to think about now. And I mean, I pretty much did that all through college. Like I would wake up at like 6 a.m. Like when I was in college, when I was 19, I was having to work so many hours, and I was going to school full time, and I had like a job working at a bar. So I sometimes would be out working till 3 a.m. and then I would come home and I would have to be up at 6 a.m. so I could layer my face on and be, you know, at my college, at my classes that started at 8 a.m. and have my tests or anything that had going on. And I was taking really hard classes. Like I was taking all different levels of calculus, and like engineering physics and organic chemistry. Like I took all the very hard classes. I ended up getting a biochemistry degree. And so it's just all through that time, like I think it just the way that our relationship with the way that we look, and also with our weight as well, because I always was very small but not hourglass shaped, so I still wasn't the ideal look for society. And there was one point in my life where I was like, should I get boob implants? Like that was something that did cross my mind, because you know, people like to make fun of you when you're not like a certain size. They want to, you know, say mean things to you, or just make you feel like you're inadequate, or just, you know, act like you look like a boy, or just anything like that, or that someone who is attracted to you, they must be attracted to, you know, prepubescent girls, or just different things. And especially online that I read, there's just a lot of hate and a lot of like, just, I don't know, it's just not that great when you see that, like people judging other people for their body or the way that they look makeup wise, or when they don't wear makeup. And so probably all through my 20s I pretty much wore makeup, but I would say I am more of a natural type of person. Like I'm more, and I'm not I don't follow mainstream either, so I'm kind of surprised to think back to my life, and I do wonder like why I kind of listen to that. Maybe because you're young. I feel like because I'm someone who pushes back. Like I'm a fighter. Like I don't give in to whatever. Like I don't drink. So if someone's like making fun of me, I don't drink, and I don't care if people want to make fun of me for not drinking, or I'm not the cool person because I don't go out and party and drink. it's like I really don't care what people think of me. But during that time period of my life, I really felt super self-conscious of wearing makeup, or not wearing makeup actually. And I even got spray tans for like a year in college. I would had a spray tan every single week, and it was like really bad spray tan. I mean, it looked nice, because you know when you have a spray tan, it helps to get rid of scarring, and I have very red skin, or kind of pink undertones. So it does make you look nice. It makes your muscles look really nicely defined. And I did that for a year. I've looked, oh, hello, Molly. You look beautiful today. She's beautiful every day. Even with no makeup, she looks so great. Are you gonna say hello? Yeah, are you saying hello to everyone? She's looking to see if there's something she could bark at. She loves screaming at everyone who walks by her window. It's her favorite activity. But, what was I saying? But yeah, so like just through my college years, I was getting spray tans, I was wearing lots of makeup, and of course, I've always wanted to be really, really thin, because naturally I was when I was really young. But as you age, of course, you start to gain weight, and that just was not okay to me. So I have really, even now, I've really tried to accept that you're gonna gain weight when you're older, and it's okay. It's hard, I would say. To me, it's harder to accept that than to accept my natural looking face, because probably in my late 20s is when I was like, you know what, I slowly stopped putting on so much makeup. And it's weird, because when you start to see yourself without makeup, I mean, I feel like I like myself without makeup. I feel like I look better now than when I used to just cake it on and have like black eyeliner all around my eyes, and just like all of that, you know, base and powder, all of that just layered on. I feel like I look better. It's weird, but I do like how I look with mascara still, because my eyelashes are brown, because I have brown hair, so they're not like, and they're not very long or full, so I do feel like when I have some mascara, it does make my eyes kind of pop a little bit. That's the only thing. If I could have like more defined eyelashes, more fake looking, I think I would be very happy. There are some people who have naturally just really amazing eyelashes, and I'm so envious of them, but I'm okay with how I look. I don't need to go and wear makeup every day. And I really like it, because I feel like I can just accept myself, and I'm so free. Like when I wake up in the mornings, I can just go out and I can move through the world without worrying about, you know, if I rub my eye or something, or if it starts to rain, because here in Seattle it's always misting. If it's misting or raining, like worrying about, is it smearing my mascara? Is it doing something? Like just always having those little thoughts. It's so weird now for me to not wear makeup, and I don't have to think about that. Like I don't have to think about like, am I getting raccoon eyes because my eyeliner or my mascara or whatever it is has like moved down under my eyes. I don't have to worry about that. And at night, I don't have to worry about trying to get it all off and rubbing it all off, and all that time you spend like putting it on, taking it off every single day, and the money of buying those products, and it's crazy. So I'm so glad that I have moved away from that. I'm becoming more okay with like how I look, and just all of that. I think that that's something I would like to see. I mean, I guess Dove is doing it. There's a lot of campaigns going on for women to accept themselves for how they look, accept themselves for their body, and it's okay to be different sizes and things like that. But I wish more people in the mainstream, or I wish more people in day-to-day life were accepting of that. Because I do still feel like I hear comments, whispers of people, you know, between women, like if someone gains weight or whatever, there's always just like, you just hear it. And I don't really understand why. It's not very productive. It's not, you don't want someone saying those things about you behind your back. And I just feel like people, like, we're worth more than our outward appearance. Like, this body, this shell that we are in is temporary. Like, we're not here on earth for that long, and it's just not that important. I mean, I do want to look cute to myself. Like, I don't really care what other people think of me. As long as I think I look adorable, and I do, I think I look absolutely amazing. Like, I'm totally accepting of myself, how I look. Like, I know that I'm not the most beautiful person in the world, and that's okay. Like, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the thinnest, I don't have the best body, or I'm not the fittest, but you know, like every day I wake up and I try to do the best that I can, you know, for myself. Like, I try to approach the world, I try to always show everyone kindness, love. Like, I think that is the worth of a person. Like, how you treat others in the environment, like your mental outlook, that's the most important. That's what I look at. When I'm around someone, if they are judgmental, if they can't understand like other people and like walks of life, and they want to judge someone because that person is struggling either mentally or monetarily, like they're living in the tent, like on the side of the road. Like, if you want to hate on someone who's just down, like, to me that just shows that you just have a very ugly heart, and you are just not a very like compassionate or nice human. Or if you're just going to trash the environment or not think about consequences of like polluting the earth, like, to me, that, and greed, I hate greed. I guess because greed goes hand in hand with destroying humans in the environment. Because you look at these corporations and they're using their greed is what's fueling destruction of the environment, and their greed is what's fueling the destruction of humans, and like the erosion of the wage that we make, and how we can live our lives, and how it impacts our health. It's a lot. It's a lot that's all intertwined, but it all just goes back to people's inner selves, and if they're just good people. And I don't know what makes someone turn one way or the other. Like, what makes someone more of a loving, and like someone who's more, that can show empathy and you can show love to people and compassion. Like, what makes that type of person versus someone, Molly, like, what makes someone who's more compassionate and loving towards people and things and the environment and animals versus someone who has none of that, someone who doesn't care, someone who's just full of greed and just wants to take, and they don't care who they step on or what kind of destruction that they impact on the earth and people. I don't understand the different people, like what one versus the other, because I have always been someone who's been on that very like loving, like wanting to help people spectrum. Like, that's something that I've always just had inside of me, that the fighter in me for the underdog, the person that doesn't stand bullying. Like, I'm someone who jumps into action. If I see something happening to someone, that they're being bullied or they're being wronged, like, that just gets my blood boiling. Like, I'm ready to literally fight. Like, it's my flight or fight, is whatever you call that. Like, it's pretty like sensitive, like, which is kind of bad. Like, I talked to another lady, she's from Mississippi as well. She said her, I guess, what do they call that? It's a portion of your brain where you're just like, you're always on edge or something. Like, that switch is just always ready to flip. Like, you're so sensitive to those types of things. And I have noticed that, like, when I'm in job situations, and I think back of when I was like first getting into the job industry, like how on edge I was, because when I feel like that I'm being judged, or when I'm not maybe going to do a great job, like, I'm so sensitive to that. Like, I want to do the best that I can, and it's for myself, but it's also mostly for the person, that the boss or whoever it is. Like, I don't want to let them down, and I don't want them to view me, or for me to be considered like a bad employee. So I'm always so critical and sensitive to any of their expectations. Like, I'm the type of employee where it's like, the second they're like, oh, like, let's do this or that, or like super customer service, like, second someone comes in, I want to make them happy, I want to make it right. Like, I jump on it, and things need to move, and I just focus on the solution and what's going to make sure that this person leaves happy, or whatever task is laid out in front of me, whatever's going to get me to point A, from point A to point B. Like, I just go for it. And I think that can be good or bad, because I feel like that it also has hindered me in some things, because I've not really like stood up for myself or have not really said anything. Like I've always been so sensitive to what other people are going to think, and so I don't ask for what I need, or I don't say, no, I need more money. Like I just take whatever they give me, and that's something I've been working on the last year, is like being assertive, like standing up for myself, like all those types of stuff. The last job that I had, I actually started kind of practicing that. Like when I was first hired, I told them like, I need this amount. And that was something that I normally wouldn't do. I would normally be very passive. And they didn't give me the amount I said, but they gave me close to it, and I was happy with it. But as I was working there, I started really getting this energy from them. And I don't know where it was coming from. I'm so sensitive to people, and like more of like what they're not saying. Like I can sense it, and I could just sense that there was more going on, and they weren't really telling me, and they weren't really being very communicating with me different things, and I was just really sensing something, and they didn't really align with me ethically, because I have very high standards as far as like how you should operate ethically. And when I go into a business or a company, I like to talk to all the people who work there. Like I want to talk to the janitor. I want to, like when I worked at this other company, I mean, I wasn't anyone high up, but they said they wanted to move me up into management. And it was, a lot of the workers were very disgruntled. The environment there was very, very, very toxic. Like that really bad, like toxic environment you could just feel when you walk in. You could feel that the people who work there just hate their jobs, and that management there is just so disconnected from the workers. And they were, like, as I was in that environment, like I saw it firsthand why it was that way. And it was just, I tried to be that olive branch, I guess. Like I want to talk to people like, hey, what are your thoughts on how we can improve this? Like, would you have any ideas? Like I went around and I talked to everyone who worked there. I talked to the bartender, I talked to the servers, I talked to the lady who was like the manager of the floor, and was like, what do you think could improve this, this business? Like, what are your ideas and thoughts? And everyone gave me ideas and thoughts and stuff, and I kept them collected like in my phone, like under my notes, because I was supposed to meet with my boss, and like we were supposed to meet every week or something and go through like my progress, and like kind of mentoring me over a like 3-month period into a management position. And so I went with her and was telling her like all the thoughts and my ideas, and how I had spoke to other people and like their thoughts and ideas. And I kept telling her like the emphasis on, I'm all about teamwork, because everyone was so fragmented. It was like this person didn't want to do it because it wasn't their job, and that person felt like that they were doing the other person's job. It's like everyone felt like that they were doing more than the other person, and then the other person felt like that they were doing more than that person. And it was such a weird environment to be in, and I was trying to improve it, and I was trying to pull everyone together, but quickly the lady above me showed me that she was not someone who is capable of doing that. And that's when I had to get out of there. Because that's another thing. I will stay at a position, but if I feel like the position's not going anywhere, and the people who work there, the people who are above you, if they are showing signs that they do not operate from a high core of integrity and ethics, I cannot work for someone like that. If you are not in it to take care of the people that are under you, like that, to me, a good leader puts everyone else above themselves. Like that's the sign of a good leader. A good leader listens. A good leader leads. And it's so hard to find that. I don't know why people who are not good at this, why they get promoted into leadership roles. Why it's people who are toxic. It's people who can't get other people on the same page. It's people who are just so unorganized, and their thoughts are so fragmented that they can't get it together, and they don't have original thoughts or ideas. Or they're not open to new things, new ways of doing things. I don't understand that. And I've met so many business owners like that as well. They're so closed off to anything besides their own idea or their own way of thinking. And I feel like to be a good leader and to be a good business owner, it's good to have input and thoughts from everyone. Like that's what the hive mind, like that that fosters creativity. That helps to move things forward. Like, some amazing ideas come from the people who are actually working out in the field. That's what you need to be focusing on, is what do they see? Because you're not going to see it. You're not out there. You're not out there every day. You're not the boots on the ground. You're not talking to the people every day. I don't know. That's why I'm like, that's why I had to walk away from the job industry altogether. And I was like, I can't do this. I cannot keep doing this, because my experience is, the job industry has been terrible. It's been so toxic for me, and just mentally draining to just have that experience after experience, and just have to put up with so much. And, enough is enough. That's what I said this year. After the pandemic, because I was really trying. I was trying so hard to, move or just go somewhere, just to be successful, just, have that career. I'm 34. Like, when is my career going to start? When am I going to get that dream career job where you have, like, where I can take a vacation, where I can be taken seriously, where I can actually be a leader, where I can actually be unleashed, and all of my ideas and my skills can come to life, and I can be spectacular. But nobody wants that. Like, none of the jobs I get, they all want you to just come in. They want you to just shut up, sit down, and listen to them. They want you to be a mindless zombie. They just want you to just be a robot, and that's it. And those types of jobs don't work for me. They don't fit me. Like, I am a creative person. I am someone who has so much original thought, and I'm not someone who likes to be silent. I'm not someone who likes to be a doormat. Like, if I'm not happy somewhere, I leave. And that's why I bounce from job to job, because I start to get that feeling that the person is trying to double cross me. The person is trying to just mess me over. And that doesn't fly with me. Like, I've had so many jobs. I should do my job series. Maybe I'll do that today. I mean, maybe I should write out a script, because so many of my videos, I go off on a tangent onto another tangent. And there's just so much that I have experienced in my life that I think other people might find fascinating. Maybe. I feel like they might. Like, I feel like I've acquired a lot of experiences and a lot of skills, because I'm someone who's always looking for personal growth, and I'm not afraid to switch industries, to switch jobs. That's what, in my entire, like, career, I've run into so many people who were just miserable, and they were working the same job that they had years ago, and they would talk to me and tell me how miserable they were, how the job was just terrible, how the pay was just horrible. And I would always wonder, why are they still there? Like, why? Like, if they say if you change jobs, normally you can get like a higher raise, because most people only get like a 20-cent raise a year. It was either 20 cent or 20%. I don't think it was 20%. That's way too high. Like 20-cent raise. That sounds insanely low. That can't even keep up with inflation. So you get like a 20-cent raise, but they said, like, if you change jobs, like for that same position, you can easily get maybe a few $1,000 raise just from looking or applying at another job. And there was a lady at the job that I worked last July. There was a lady there. She was really awesome. I really liked her. And she had worked at that company for like 20 years. And she was a manager, but they didn't pay her anything. She probably made $22 an hour. I mean, it's just ridiculous to think someone's been in a position for 20 years as a manager and they're not even making close to a living wage for downtown Seattle. Like, downtown Seattle, these people did not even provide her with parking. Like, she's in downtown, so she had to, like, take a bus or an Uber. Like, how inconvenient. Like, if you're downtown, and you pay terrible, and then you're inconvenienced? What? I kept telling her, girl, you need apply. At least, you don't say, like, leave your job and before you have another one. Like, I never do that. No. Like, no. Always have another job lined up. Like, you can do both. I do both. Like, I'm a serial job applier. Like, I have spent most of my career coming home from dead-end, horrible, toxic, poverty wage jobs, and I spend the whole night, get home, I spend 3-4 hours just applying to jobs, just looking, scrolling. I spend all those hours just application. I'm sending them. I'm setting up interviews. I'm looking to see what's out there. I'm revising my resume. I'm writing cover letters. That's what I'm used to doing every night after a job. That's what I'm used to. And that's why people, when they look at me, they're like, oh, go to school, like go do a trade, like go become a nurse. I have a biochemistry degree. It took me 6 years to get that degree because I was working full-time while I was in school full-time. Like, you're preaching to the choir here. I don't need more education. I think I'm smart enough. Like, what I bring to the table should be enough to at least make a semi-living wage. Like, I should not have to come home every night and apply for hours and hours just to maybe get like an office manager position and make $20 an hour. That was in Mississippi. Out here in Seattle, I'm not, $20 an hour is like minimum wage to me. 25 is like minimum wage. Like, no, you need to come at the table with like 35 an hour or more. Like, or just, no, it's not worth my time. So that's why I'm just completely leaving the job industry, because most jobs that are out there and available, they don't pay anything. Like, they think that they're super special because they're paying like 20-something dollars an hour. No, if you cannot pay my bills on me being a single person, if I can't pay all my bills with this one job, like, I'm not gonna go work 3 or 4. What kind of life is that? What are we living for? I do not live to work. That's so backwards. So many people just work just so they can have like 3 days off, or like once a year. That's terrible. What kind of life is that? I don't understand. I would rather have a job where I don't even feel like it's working. And that's where I think a lot of people, they're at their breaking point. They're tired. We are just tired of spinning our wheels and not getting anywhere. And I especially think through the pandemic, a lot of people, they've had time to reflect. They've had time to actually think, because when you are in that position where you are working a poverty wage job, probably multiple, you're working multiple poverty wage job, you don't have the luxury to even really think of the future. Like, you just literally work, sleep, and you do that every single day. And before you know it, 10 years has gone by, and that's been your life. And you still have nothing to show for it. So I feel like with the pandemic, so many people in these lower wage jobs, they were able to sit home for a while. And that's when they really started to say, you know what? I really like living. I really like this thing. I've not really been able to do it, but now that I've done it, it feels pretty nice. It feels kind of relaxing. And I think that more people were like, you know what? I would rather just do van life. I would rather do anything but go back to working and sleeping and working and sleeping for the next 20 or 30 years. I think so many people are at that point. They're done. Like, capitalism, consumer mentality, it is taken over. It has sucked the life out of everyone who is the boots on the ground making the low wages. It's made everyone just wake up and say, I'm tired of this. This is not the life that I wanted for myself. And this is not the life that I'm going to be living anymore. Myself included. Like, I did that for too long. I didn't work like 3 or 4 jobs, not the last like couple of years. I was working only 1 job, but it still wasn't, I was not happy with it. I was not satisfied with, I like helping people. That is my true calling. Volunteering and helping people, that's when I feel like my skill, that's when I feel like my personal, like my inner self is doing the job that it was meant to do. I don't know if that makes any sense. Because I feel like a lot of people, I can help a lot of people. I don't know, it's weird. I guess I didn't really grow up around people, so I didn't really get to interact with a lot of people or really figure out like how this whole thing works. But when I'm out and about, I find that a lot of people gravitate to me. Like, just out in my daily life. It's happened less being out here in Seattle, and it's more busy and whatever, but there are people who they just come to me and they want to talk, and they tell me things, and they're very nice, and they're super chatty. And my therapist even said one time, I was in therapy all last year, and I still don't even know what she meant, but she was just like, do you realize the impact that you have on people? And I was like, no, what does that mean? And because she talked to me for like a whole year, and I don't really know what, but so I've been trying to think about that, like, okay, so I mean, I do try to, when I interact with people, not make them feel bad, like not be rude, not be mean, like is that something that's kind of rare? I don't know, like I don't really know what people see in me, like why they want to come and talk to me and what they like about me. I'd like to think maybe it's because I'm not judgmental. Maybe I'm like a safe person. I'm like a safe place that they can just come and just tell anything to me and I'll just listen and not judge them for whatever it is that they're going through. I don't know. I think I've talked enough for today though. I don't know. I feel like I'm just rambling. This is what happens. You know, you're just going to have to get over the fact that I don't like make a script. So whatever we're talking about, it's going to go in whatever direction that my heart is telling me to. And you know what? Every day my heart is telling me that we're fed up. And we need more people need help. That's another thing I was thinking about. I was like, why do more people not help each other? Because I see that there's so much wealth in the world. Like, I'm working so hard to make some money, or not just make money for myself. Like, yes, I want to live an amazing, vibrant, you know, awesome life. I want to see the world. The world is huge. Like, I would love to see, you know, other planets, but that's probably not going to happen in my lifetime. But I just want to see the world, and I just want to just live, like really truly live, and just be in the moment. But I also know that I think I can make a lot of money with my ideas and like my vision and my energy. But I want to make sure that that money is being spent ethically. Like, I want to help other people in need. I want the money. I want to inspire other people to pull together as a human race and just help each other. Like, no judgment. Like, don't judge someone because they live in a tent. Don't judge someone because they're not like you. Maybe you could have pulled yourself out. They can't. Like, don't judge. I mean, we don't know their, you know, life story. Like, I just think that that's the main issue that I see, is a lot of judgment between people. It's like, I did it, you should, or this happened to me, it should happen to you. And I think there needs to be more grace and more love and more just understanding between people, instead of this like constant judging of each other. It's like, oh, you work a low-wage job, you deserve that low-wage job. Like, you don't deserve a living wage. Like, who came up with these ideas and rules in life? Who, like, no. And that's another thing. The people who make a lot of money, usually those are the people who are ruthless. Like, there is a reason why they're at the top. Because to get to the top, usually you have to step on a lot of people, or you have to backstab a lot of people. Like, there's a reason why. Like, kings, queens, people, conquerors, people who took over other countries, they had to have that mentality. You had to kill people. You had to, like, do all this stuff. Like, that's, to me, you had to be very ruthless in the way that you approached other people or the environment. And so I guess it just makes sense that even now that the world would be ran by those types of people that we see right now. People who don't care about the environment, people that don't care about other people. But it doesn't have to be that way. Like, we are ever evolving, changing, like, our perspective on things. Like, women can vote now, and women are not considered second-class citizen as much. I just feel like, but we need more change, and more women and more just people in general. We need to stand up for each other. Like, if you see something, you need to say something. You need to talk to your friends who are very judgmental about certain people or situations, and just let them know the truth and the facts, and slowly start getting everyone on board for a wave of change that's going to be helping everyone. I think we can do it. My boyfriend's like, no, we will never get to that point where government is always going to be corrupt, and corporations are always going to be greedy, and this world, we can't really change it. Like, you can do what you can in your small little, you know, community or people around you, but it's not going to be something that ever changes the whole world. You're always going to have horrible people, and that's just the way it is. But I don't know, maybe not. I like to stay optimistic. I'm very positive. Oh, let me show you. This is some chocolate that I found at PCC, which I've never really gone to. But it's this raspberry, it's raspberry dark chocolate. It's for, it like supports endangered species. I don't know how much of this goes to it, but just like things that support nonprofits, I think it's a great way to spend your money. Because if you're going to buy chocolate, you might as well buy one that helps people, or helps the environment, or animals that are endangered, or just anything like that. Like, why not? Like, if you're going to spend it, might as well spend it ethically, or at least to someone who gives 10% or whatever, 5% of profits to helping a good cause. I want my company, if I ever get my glamping, well, I will. I need to speak in positives here. Once I get my glamping business up and running and successful, I want to make sure that I am giving back, and that whoever I have helping me with the business, I want to make sure that I'm paying them a decent wage and not shortchanging them. But you have to structure it in a way so that it could support that. But I think it can happen. I think more people, you just have to get more sales. Like, you have to make sure that you have a nice, robust marketing plan, because I have found that any business can make a lot of sales. You just have to get in front of as many people looking for your service or whatever it is that you do. Like, you have to make sure that you have brand awareness. That's the number one thing. Getting people aware of your brand and making sure that they know who you are as a company. Because I like to know the company. I want to know who they are. Like, what is their mission? Like, what is their vision, and how do they view the world? What do they want to do with their profit? Are they giving back? Are they greedy? Are they polluting and actually endangering, people or the environment? Are they just ruthlessly taking and never giving back? Because if you think about it, corporations, they wouldn't have a company if it wasn't for us, the consumer. Literally. Like, we are not only the consumer, but we are also the person working for them. Like, so they rely on us twice. They rely on us to work for them and actually make sure that whatever it is that their company is, that it's happening. So like Amazon, making sure that their stuff is being distributed. They wouldn't have a business without their workers, but they also would not have a business without the people buying so that they are distributing it. So I think that it is good for them to pay those people a decent amount, and also to get back to the communities or the environment or whatever type of cause. Because if you're making exuberant profits, like, that profit needs to be going to a good cause. It needs to be, you should not, there's no reason why you should have like 20 houses, or there's no reason why these people should have all of these crazy things, and then their workers are such low wage that they rely on tax dollars and government assistance to live. Like, if you think about it, that's just ridiculous. Like, you're pretty much funding that person's greed. Like, because they have the ability to make sure that their worker is taken care of, to make sure their worker has a happy, fulfilling life. But they don't. They don't. They withhold it because in their eyes, they're worth more than the worker, or the worker isn't seen as valuable enough to actually have a nice life. That's just a ridiculous way of thinking. So anyone, I think, that is against robust social programs, they should be all for paying everyone a living wage. Like, they should be all over that. They should be out. They should be protesting. They should be out in the streets, banging the drum, carrying signs. They should be posting on their social media, like, constantly, like, raise the living wage to like 30 an hour, like whatever it is that's going to be a thriving wage. They should be out there doing that, because that would make make it so that people don't have to rely on government help. That would make it so that we wouldn't need such a robust, like, you know, social program. But no. They're against it all. I don't really know what they want from the workers. You know, if you're not for corporations paying a thriving wage, if you're not for making sure that humans are having a fulfilling and happy and nice life and they can afford to feed themselves, if you're not for that, and then you're also not for making sure that, you know, the government fills in the gap for when the company doesn't, I don't know what you're for then. What are you trying to gain from this? Do you want people, do you want the whole entire, like, service industry and home health workers and office managers who, you know, it's a lot of jobs that don't pay a thriving wage. Do you want all of those people to be living in tents or RVs? Like, do you want them to all get sterilized so that they can't have children because, you know, children are expensive and they can't afford it? Like, what are you hoping to accomplish with these ideals? I don't understand it. Maybe I'm sure I'll hear someone, you know, one of the conservatives or someone who's against all these programs and for all of this stuff, that, you know, I'm sure one of them will probably tell me in the comments about, you know, I get it all the time. I'm from Mississippi, and on my personal Facebook page, I have a lot of male friends. I only hear from them when I post something that is, like, for the people, who's trying to make the world better for people. That's the only time that they creep up out of the wood, and they're like, hey, like, you need to go become a doctor. Like, that's, you know, people always go to is always this. They always have some kind of comeback, you know. They always have an excuse. They always have, it's always, you know, put it on them. Like, it's all you. It's all them. Like, they need to pull themselves out. They need to work a 5th job. They need to work a 10th job. Like, no sleep. Who needs sleep? They need to, like, you know, it's just asinine. I just don't understand those people's way of thinking. Like, how could you be against humans and the environment? I don't get it. Who even has a rebuttal for that? Like, you're against humans, like, living a nice, happy life? Okay, that's the hill you're gonna die on? Alright, let's do this then. Let's argue that humans shouldn't have food or, you know, have a house. Like, okay, but then in the same token, you're gonna, like, go berate and demonize someone who's living in a tent? Oh, wow, that's, like, that's super constructive. Like, yeah, I see your thought process right there. Like, I think they don't even want those people to exist. But then if someone's not there to flip their burger, then they just, it's like, oh no, like, the world has ended because there's no one here to serve my coffee, or there's no one to flip my burger for minimum wage. Well, you didn't want that minimum wage worker in the first place. You didn't want to pay them a living wage. You didn't think they were essential or smart enough, or that their job title was worth anything. But apparently it was worth a lot, because now you're crying and whining online how bad it is, and how you can't go and do something because, you know, there's such a huge labor shortage. And I kind of find that ironic that there is such a huge labor shortage, but I don't hear of these labor shortages happening in jobs that are very robust and have great hours and pay and, you know, benefits and health care. I don't think those jobs are seeing any, you know, like Dan Price. I don't think his job's paying a living wage. I don't think he's hurting for employees. I think he's getting a surplus of very, you know, highly talented people. Like, that's what you would see. You just need to raise your wages. The problem is you need to do better. Like, and they say, like, when the market, like, it's all about the market. If you have a low skill and everyone can do it, then it's not going to pay anything. Well, they said that. Well, now that skill that was considered very low skill and not worth much of anything, and that anybody could just come and do it, and there was a surplus of people to do it, now that there's a shortage, they're still not up in the pay. What happened to that? You want to whine and moan because nobody wants to come do the work for below living wage? I thought that it was supply and demand. I thought if there was a demand, then you would see a price increase for that job, but I'm not seeing it. So no, I don't, you just want to force people to come work for you. You want people to be desperate enough so that they go back to making a poverty wage and working multiple jobs because you want them stuck so that they have no other option. So it's not really about supply and demand, really. And it's not really about the skill, because if you've ever worked in a kitchen, it requires a lot of skill and work. It's a very hard job. So I don't think that's the problem either. It's ridiculous. But I guess I've probably talked enough on here. I've been almost talking for a while. And so I should probably get off here. But yeah, let me know in the comments, like, your thoughts on this pandemic and what you think of, should we have strong, robust social programs? Should your life and your well-being be tied to a job, healthcare? Or, I don't know, just your thoughts in general. Just let me know down below.